Good afternoon. Today marks the 2-year anniversary of my arrival in Israel to try to enter in for interfaith delegation and to attend my cousin's wedding. My family comes from Ramallah in the West Bank in Palestine, and I will explain what happened during that time. I landed in the airport in Lid. We think of it in Tel Aviv, but it actually is built on Yusuf's hometown, on confiscated Palestinian land, stolen Palestinian land. I was part of a delegation of 30 U.S. citizens. I alone was pulled aside. I was asked my father's name and my grandfather's name. When they heard those names, they escorted me to a waiting room that was full of other Palestinians who were also being interrogated and questioned about their arrival in their homeland. My father came to the U.S. in 1966. I was born in the U.S. I'm the daughter of a Palestinian refugee, and not many people think of Palestinians of 1967 as being refugees. My father came to the U.S. for work opportunities. When Israel occupied the West Bank in 1967, Israel conducted a census of people that were present in the West Bank at that time and put them on the population registry that Yusuf also mentioned. Because my father was not present in the land at that time, he lost all his rights to be resident in his hometown. So the U.S. thankfully became a place for him to be, but others, less fortunate in places that did not provide citizenship, have remained outside the country and have never been allowed back and do not have passports or citizenship. He was permanently stripped of his right to be with his family. We still have family living there. My 24-hour ordeal began with that question: tell me your father's name, tell me your grandfather's name. Over the next 8 hours, I was interrogated no fewer than 5 times by different Shin Bet officials, the Israeli security services. Questions: who do you know here? Write down everyone you know in the West Bank. Write down the names of everyone you know in Lebanon. Tell me your employer's name. Can we call them? Give us all your email addresses. Why are you here? I was threatened. I was told, if you lie to us, we will cause trouble for you in the United States. We will make it difficult for you to return to the U.S. We are friends with the U.S. immigration, of course, you know that, and so you will not be allowed back. We can ruin your reputation at your place of work, and you will lose your job. It became apparent that the Israeli officials had Googled my name, and they said to me, Enti Nashita. This is Arabic for you're active. And it's kind of a funny term because the first thing that came to my mind is, I exercise, you think you're fit. But it was obvious they were talking about my political activism here in the US, and they grilled me about my political work. I am involved in Quaker peace efforts, peace and justice efforts, and I've been very active within churches in the US, asking churches to divest from companies that are funding this discrimination and the occupation of West Bank and Gaza. I was not carrying a phone or a laptop at the time when I entered. I was thinking ahead and did not want those items on me. So one of my interrogators turned his computer screen around to me and handed me his keyboard. The Gmail homepage was on the screen, and he told me to log in. When I refused, I was accused of being a terrorist. I called the U.S. Embassy. I was scared at this point. The person on the phone, handling the night shift, it was very late, said to me, have you been here before? And I said, yes, many times. I'm a Palestinian. I have family in the West Bank. His next question to me was, are you Jewish? When I said no, he said, there is nothing that I can do for you. This is my government. Israel then declared me a security risk and took me to jail overnight. When I was in that waiting room, I met and talked to other Palestinians who were also being interrogated. And I met a young man in his 30s named Jabber, who was trying to enter to visit his dying father in the West Bank. When I was being escorted to my jail cell, the women's cell, I saw Jabber also being escorted to the men's cell. And he looked at me and he said, you two? He was just shocked that we were both being held. In June of 2012, soon after this incident, I met with State Department officials. They claimed that they had raised my case with the Israeli Ministry of Interior, but had received no response. They stressed that my only recourse in having the decisions reversed and these policies reversed was in Congress. So state claims that they have no power, and now Congress seeks to codify Israel's racism into US law by granting a visa waiver, with loopholes to allow Israel to continue to discriminate against US citizens like me. This renders Palestinian citizens second-class citizens in our own country. Israel's discrimination against Palestinians, my family, me, is the foundation of a state built on the notion that one ethnic group has superior rights over all other ethnic groups. This Jewish state is a false majority. It's built on ethnic cleansing, dispossession, and exile. These policies must be rejected by our lawmakers. Senator Boxer has said that she would introduce an amendment to the visa waiver bill, to the Israel-US Strategic Partnership Act, that would call on Israel to provide equal treatment to all US citizens. However, I don't see how this could be possible when Israel sees all Palestinians as a demographic threat. And the foundation of the state is built on this exclusivity. These 2 years of forced exile have bound me even closer to my homeland and to the millions of Palestinians who live as refugees and long to return to their homeland. Mahmoud Darwish, the famous Palestinian poet, wrote about exile. I am not here, I am not there. I have 2 names, I have 2 languages. I have long forgotten which is the language of my dreams. The US and Israel may hope to make Palestinians forget where we are from and who we are. But it is very clear after generations of exile that we will never forget, and we will return.